What's your view on the power and the money?
I'm a CEO, I'm a vice president, I want to become the president. That title, the influence which comes along with that.
What is the real state of happiness and stress in life?
What is the purpose why all these places of worship exist? Why this body of knowledge exists? Why personalities connected to religion and spirituality exist?
The Paramatma has, remote controlled the life so much that entry and exit is with him. Rest is go and play.
There are three types of people in this world. One who break God's laws, one who follow God's laws, third who facilitate, support and participate and help God.
Why this consciousness that we are souls within ourselves was not inbuilt by the Creator?
We are consultants for the journey beyond death. Only humans have that capacity.
How does one understand the presence of past life in their life?
Karma, action, Prakriti, nature, Kala, time, Atma, the soul. The fifth is Ishwar, controller. हम लोग मानते हैं ऊपर वाला है, but then when you start defining that ऊपर वाला, start getting into details of who that Ishwar is, then the conflicts begin.
That is also identity?
Whatever may be your profession and whatever you may be doing in this world, each one of us has 8 different identities.
Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to the PVT Show podcast where we have conversations that truly energize one's mind. What if I told you, and you would definitely know, that every startup would start with the seed funding and the seed idea. IIT Bombay graduate who decided that he has to reduce the pain in the world by increasing the joy of the people. Through what? By solving a problem. What was this problem? The problem of understanding divinity better. The problem of understanding and harping onto the very beautiful path of practical and modern day-led spirituality. One of the finest leadership and mindfulness coaches, one of the top speakers from Iskcon in the world. When he starts speaking, all you do is you start listening. I'm talking about the very awesome Gauranga Das Prabhu Ji. Without much ado, let's deep dive into this very meaningful conversation for the modern world and for the youth of our country. Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Poonamji, for having me on your show.
So honored to be, first of all, in such a divine place. We walked into a very... It never felt like this is Bombay. You have done a miracle because you've actually got Vrindavan to Govardhan Ecovillage. So congratulations to you and to your entire
Thank you very
team.
much. Thank you. And its credit goes to Radhanath Swami Maharaj, who had this vision that Vrindavan, outside of Vrindavan, will help in meditating on that Vrindavan based on Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which describes how Krishna created the first Vrindavan out of Vrindavan in Dwarka.
Let's talk about that.
So this is that replica.
Yeah.
Over the last 5,000 years, 10 such Vrindavans have been created. First one is in Dwarka. Second one was Rup and Sanatana Goswami in Ramkeli in Bengal. Third was by Srinivas Acharya in Ban Bishnupur near Murshidabad in Bengal. Fourth was by Rasikananda in Balasore, very close to that, North Orissa. Fifth was by Jai Singh Maharaj in outskirts of Jaipur called Kanak Vrindavan. Kanak was the name of Jai Singh Maharaj's sister. Sixth was by a great personality called Krishna Premi Ji in Almora called Uttar Vrindavan. Seventh was by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada in Sridham, Mayapur, Bengal, called Sri Chaitanya Mutt, and it is known as Vrajapattana. Eighth was by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder of Iskcon, in the New Vrindavan, which is near Pittsburgh in USA. The ninth one was by Shivaram Swami at a place known as Nava Vraja Dham. It is on the outskirts of, not outskirts, maybe 3 hours drive from Budapest in Hungary. And the 10th one, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj wanted it here in the vicinity of Mumbai.
Right.
So that, Vrindavan is 3 hours, 3 hours away from Delhi. And so now Vrindavan here is also 3 hours away.
Oh yes, absolutely. Just took us 2.5 hours to be here from Bombay. Prabhuji, I have a very huge list of followers and fans of yours. And the first thing, or the first question, not really a question, metallurgical engineer BTech.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to an IIT Bombay graduate. The incidents that happened in your college, where you started thinking about what is the real state of happiness and stress in life.
Correct.
If you could please reflect on that. And then from there, an extreme journey.
See, practically all professions in this world, they exist because they provide solution to some problem, to some pain. If you have a civil engineer, he's trying to solve through his design the pain of either living or traveling by designing nice roads or bridges to help the transport. If you have a computer science engineer, he's helping you process data faster and dealing with the pain of that data. If you have a doctor, he's helping you cope with the pain of the physical body. If you have an accountant, he's helping you cope with the pain of helping process wealth and analyze it the way you would want it to be. So practically everybody in this world is getting paid for helping resolve some pain in this world. And typically that is very well defined and understood and universally accepted globally.
Right.
There is not much confusion. If you look at a restaurant, the guy who's running the restaurant is helping you cope with the pain of hunger.
Correct.
There is no ambiguity. There is no confusion. You go to the restaurant expecting food, not expecting a Bhagavad Gita lecture. So everything is clear about that. The place where the ambiguity is when people look at any place of worship, whether it's church, mosque, gurudwara, Jain temple, Hindu temple, Buddhist, a temple or pagoda. So when you come to these places, then you get confused. What pain are they resolving? Are they resolving a pain or adding to the pain? That is, the secular so-called mindset comes up with that query. And that needs to be very properly understood and explained and unpacked for the intellectual class who feel that religion is only for those with some kind of faith or even blind faith. Rationality and intellect is only in the domain of science, not in the domain of spirituality and religion. And that's what we are trying to debunk through our decisions, choices, and actions. And for your kind information, in Iskcon alone, we have hundreds of monks who are coming from background of technology, of medicine, of management, and even other spiritual organizations have a lot of people from such backgrounds, which means that we have understood what majority of this world is not able to grasp, which is what is the purpose why all these places of worship exist, why this body of knowledge exists, why personalities connected to religion and spirituality exist, what value are they adding to the world, what pain are they trying to resolve. So that needs to be addressed very accurately. So amongst the different types of pain which people experience, one of the biggest pains anybody can possibly experience in their life is the pain caused by change in their identity. So all of us have an identity, and as per the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, whatever may be your profession and whatever you may be doing in this world, each one of us has 8 different identities. We identify with 8 different things. First, we identify with our body, Atma. The body is young, old, beautiful, overweight, underweight, healthy, not healthy, changing in the direction I like it to or the change is against my desire.
Mm.
So all this is one identity. And it's important because practically the health industry, insurance industry, cosmetic industry put together is trillions of dollars worth. And it would not be unless people strongly identified with it.
Sure.
So therefore, that's the first identity. Second is identity with your husband, wife, kids, husband and wife, relationship with husband and wife. So that's an identity where people are, quite concerned about how to keep it stable, how to maintain it in the long run. And if any change happens there, it affects either of the partners. And therefore, sometimes separations can be painful. Relationship difficulties lead to a lot of angst, a lot of pain, a lot of frustration and trauma. The third is the identity with respect to our kids, expectation we have with our kids. The kids should be doing this, studying in this school, going to this college, living life like this. This should be their ethical and moral values. So all of these expectations we have with kids, and sometimes parents are in greater anxiety than kids about their education there, and especially exam times can be very tense, and more than that is result time.
Yeah.
So therefore it's identity with the kids. Fourth is identity with our house, what kind of house we have. Fifth is identity with our vehicle, changing vehicle because we identify with the kind of vehicle we drive. Sixth is identity with our wealth, how much wealth, net worth, and what kind of wealth I'm growing. And so many times business folks who identify themselves as wealth creators, when they lose wealth because of some business debacle, because the market crashes, because some wrong decision has been made, but when they lose wealth, so their identity says, I create wealth, but the balance sheet is showing you have lost wealth. So they are not able to cope with that sudden change in the identity, and they collapse. And many times we have incidents of such businessmen who see sudden debt, irrevocable debt. They end their life because they just can't live with their identity of someone who has lost heavy amounts of personal and public wealth. And they just can't cope with that identity. And then the seventh is the identity with respect to social acceptance or rejection. How does society look at us? Are we accepted? Are we appreciated? Are we acknowledged? Or are we rejected? Are we cancelled? Are we being ignored? Are we becoming irrelevant? So these are all things which, in spite of having the pocket full and the stomach full, still bothers people if people are not acknowledging their presence. So that is also a very important element of identity. Do I have a good social acceptance? Sometimes I have visited, ICU beds where people have had heart attacks because they just did not get a promotion.
Yeah.
And that promotion was not going to be adding much financial value, but it is social status. And the eighth identity is with respect to our career, influence, power.
That is also identity?
Of course. I'm a CEO. I'm a vice president. I want to become a president. And that title, the influence which comes along with that. So basically, when we say career, it's all about what kind of influence you have over others. Is how much of the universe will move if you express your desire.
Yes.
That makes the difference between the prime minister and the man on the street.
What's your view on the power and the money?
So as long as people use this for the right purpose, then it's perfectly fine. But when these eight are there, and that these eight identities you are developing, these eight are constantly changing.
Absolutely.
So when that change happens, you go through that trauma. You begin the day juggling between trying to manage these eight identities.
All eight.
That's what is called anxiety. Anxiety is nothing but constant flexibility and change in all these eight identities. So today, you get up, your body feels great,
Mm.
Wife is upset, husband is upset, the children are loving, money is good, house is good, but career goes through some down, somebody is ignoring you. So if you look at your day, when you say, I had a good day, it basically means most of these 8
What don't-
identities were kind of the way you expected.
Yes.
But that's too much, because
Yeah.
anytime any of this will change. Now
Sure.
the question is, do we have an option?
Mm.
Because these changes will happen.
Correct.
We cannot stop the change, but we can prepare ourselves for the change. Just like in rainy season, if I go out, I can't stop the rain,
Correct.
but I can carry the umbrella. If the virus is there, I can't do anything about it, but I can possibly get vaccinated or increase my immunity.
Sure.
So therefore, we, when I say we refer to people representing religion and worship. 31% Christians, 23% Muslims, 15% Hindus, 8.5% Buddhists, and others. All religions, religious places of worship, religious literatures, religious practices, religious gatherings, religious, all kinds of paraphernalia, rituals. They are all designed for resolving this one pain, which is the change in the identity. And how do they do that? By offering you complete stability in your 9th identity.
Which is?
All of these religions put together are drawing your attention to fix yourself not in these 8, but fix your primary identity in your 9th identity.
Which is?
I'm creating suspense.
Oh, actually. Now
That
I'm very curious.
9th identity is, I am a soul, Atma. So practically every Hindu, whether they believe or not, practice or not, has always heard of Atma. Now, Atma in the Bhagavad Gita sometimes refers to the senses, to the body, to the intellect, to the mind, and to the soul. Madgaten antaratmana, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So, Atma is the soul. And Krishna says in Gita, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra muhyati. The body continuously changes. Continuously the body changes. But there is someone within who doesn't change. So even when some 75-year-old man looks at his old photos when he was 15 years old and shows to the grandchildren, see, this is Dadaji when he was 15 years old. So the body has changed. But the Dadaji is identifying that this is the same person. And he's telling the grandchild, Beta, see, this is me. He's not saying it is a 15-year-old different person.
Yeah.
He's saying, no, 60 years ago, it was me. Every cell has changed from the age he was 15. So what is that which is not changed? Atma. When someone dies, we say, wo chal base. Arre kaun chal base, wo to wahi hai. Shamshan bhumi mein padi hai sharir. The body is right there. The soul. The dead body, eyes open. They can't see. Eyes are open. Who was seeing through the eyes? Atma. So therefore, it is the most ridiculous situation on the planet that something as obvious as the presence of the soul is totally being ignored. And people are, involved in all kinds of activities, even of religion, without understanding that there is an entire science behind it and there is a complete technology which is offered to provide you indemnity, insurance, and stability in your crisis when you go through change in identity. And that is what in all traditions, all religions, this immunity booster, this umbrella, this protector, this kavach from the change in identity was called as prayer. And that prayer is nothing but you are reiterating first thing in the morning that my real, actual, long-term, authentic identity is I am a soul. मैं आत्मा हूँ. And so if there is, you say I am an engineer, so he has a function, he has a duty, he has an action related to engineer. Say I am a doctor. The doctor is identity, but related to the doctor's identity, there is actions. Say I am a cook. With respect to the identity as a cook, there are actions. Someone say I am a physical trainer, I am a gym instructor, there are actions. So if I say I am a soul, what are the actions which follow your identity that I am a soul? That action of the soul is Mamaivamcho jivaloke jiva bhuta sanatana mana shashthani indrani prakriti sthani karshati. I am the part and parcel of the super soul, not universe. Super soul, Paramatma. The Atma is an anu, small ansh of the Paramatma, of the supreme controller, enjoyer and proprietor. And all religions across the world, they accept the 5 principles very commonly. What is what? Karma, action, Prakriti, nature, Kala, time, Atma, the soul. The 5th is Ishwar, controller. सब लोग मानते ऊपर वाला है. But then when you start defining that ऊपर वाला, start getting into details of who that Ishwar is, then the conflicts begin.
Correct.
And then people become so disoriented that this is so disruptive. Let's forget it. And so visits to the temple have become ritualistic. Practice of various kinds of activities at home have become ritualistic because people just don't know that practice of this religion, understanding of religion and spirituality can help relieve a major component of pain in my life. If people knew that, they would lap it up.
Correct.
And therefore, there has been a disconnect in what? Not in the body of knowledge. The body of knowledge has always been there. Not in the buildings. The buildings have always been there. But in the communication.
Sure.
That's why I decided India is producing 1.5 million engineers every year. Hundreds of doctors. But the spiritual Vedic wisdom and religion, and specifically Sanatana Dharma, needs people who can help translate and communicate that ancient wisdom in a relevant manner for the people of this world. That, okay, you're very, very fixed up and very diligent about your duty towards your body, duty towards your husband and wife, your duty towards your children, duty towards your house, duty towards your car, duty towards your money making, duty towards your social relations, duty towards your career. Great. We are not telling you stop it. We are just telling you add one more duty, which is of your soul towards Paramatma. So जीव और आत्मा सनातन है, परमात्मा सनातन है, और आत्मा का धर्म सनातन परमात्मा के प्रति सेवा का है.
Correct.
That is what is called Sanatana Dharma. So Sanatana Dharma is not just a Hindu jargon. It's not a political narrative. Sanatana Dharma is the eternal duty of the soul by understanding its identity. So therefore we need purity in proclivity, stability in identity, and consistency in activity. These 3 principles together makes what is known as dharma.
So beautifully explained.
So when you understand what dharma is, people say duty. अरे ये 8 भी तो duty है.
Correct.
But you need purity in proclivity, that I will serve without any other desire than to please Paramatma. Anya bhilashita shunyam. And then second, you need stability in identity. आत्मा नहीं बदलती, परमात्मा नहीं बदलते, हमारा संबंध कभी नहीं बदलेगा. When you begin the day with that understanding, with that contemplation, whatever may change in the day, it will not affect you. So it's not that I walk out in the rainy season taking an umbrella means rain will not come. No, rain will come, but I have prepared myself.
Correct.
अस्पताल खोल देगा इसका मतलब नहीं बीमार नहीं होंगे. But you have a method of treating yourself.
Correct.
So therefore, prayer, contemplation, it has almost become lost from traditions. And a data was released on the trends of prayer amongst Christians, Muslims, Sikhs, Jains and Hindus. And the shocking, conclusion was the trend for prayer is least amongst Hindus. 1 billion on the planet who have almost 2 million temples in India, where only 70,000 hospitals are there. 2 million temples, we are big and small.
Correct.
We have records of almost 650,000 only. We don't have records of all the others, but every village you can see has some temple, this, that. But what is the principle behind that temple? That most people have never understood only. It can help you stabilize your identity, and that is what is described in the Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna asks Krishna, Sthita pragyasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadhi kim prabhasheta kim asita prajeta kim. What is sthita pragya? What is the meaning of someone who is stable in their consciousness and who will not actually be bewildered in happiness, distress, pain, pleasure, remain steady? Equanimity.
Yeah.
So then Krishna says, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyeva atmana tushta sthita pragyastadochyate. That when one is completely fixed in one's identity as a soul.
I have a question here. If this was so important, why the creator, superpower, Paramatma, has to only leave this information input in our brain? Because this is to be explored. One has to be reminded, one has to experience the path. Why this consciousness that we are souls within ourselves was not inbuilt by the creator?
It's very much inbuilt. We have only forgotten it or refused to accept it, because anyone who engages in any activity which is not as per dharma, they become immediately cognizant of that internally. And from there only people experience guilt. So therefore Krishna says, Sarvasya cham hridasannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. I am situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. And I am giving the knowledge and the remembrance. So everybody is aware. But why we need satsanga? Satsangat mukta dussango hatumna utsahate buddha. Only in that satsanga you get the power to apply that knowledge.
Correct.
And when you get that power to apply, you get the strength, then you are able to say no to temptations.
Correct.
And so satsang or positive association is very important to give you the strength to subdue pleasure and keep purpose on top.
I was speaking with someone and we were kind of having a roundtable debate sorts with people who are high-flying professionals, and my background is from the corporate world. And for most, the topmost priority is wealth creation because they see themselves getting free. On the other hand, wealth creation may happen, but they may lose their life. There are youngsters, as you said, experiencing heart attacks. So the creator, the Paramatma, has, remote controlled the life so much that entry and exit is with him. Rest is go and play. How does one understand that, or one put a layer of understanding to the thought that pleasure through senses is not life?
As I say, you need ABCD, association. Because unless you have a group of people who prioritize purpose over pleasure,
correct,
you'll always think that pleasure is everything. So when there are people who are prioritizing purpose over pleasure. That is what is called as yajna, sacrifice. Sacrifice means what? You are prioritizing purpose over pleasure. Purpose fulfillment is more important to you than pleasure seeking. When you have association of people like that, then you become cognizant that there is an alternative narrative here. Otherwise, you will just continue thinking that, "Arey, sab to yahi kar rahe
Earn
hain."
money and happiness. Change the cars and happiness. Change the homes and happiness.
That's what, status quo is.
Yeah.
But when you associate with people who help you give a wake-up call,
Yeah.
then you realize that. That's the first association. A. Then comes B, books. You need to have the right kind of reference books. So the Bhagavad Gita is one such book. It is helping you set the GPS for life.
Correct.
Because you say, my priority in life is to just own a Rolls Royce and an Audi and drive it. But I say, drive where? Destination, I don't know, but I want to just drive. So if someone is driving, the first thing they fix on the GPS is destination. So if life is a journey, where's the destination? So the books help you understand, define, and refine your destination. C stands for contemplation. Spend some time every day where you contemplate. Spend quality time.
Yeah.
If you don't contemplate, then ultimately life will be filled with frustration. And then the D is the diet.
Oh, okay.
So A, B, C, and diet.
Indeed.
So diet means it's the fuel with which you will run on the journey. So a boxer has a different diet, gymnast has a different diet. Both
Correct.
cannot have the same diet. Similarly, when people say, should I be this or that, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, this, that, I say, Baba, what's your priority? If you want to increase your mode of goodness, which will increase clarity in your thought process, if increase your spirituality, ahar shuddhav sattva shuddhav durasmriti smriti lamme sarvagranthana vipramoksha, then you have to purify your diet
With food.
So that A for association, B for books, C for contemplation, D for diet. You take these four
Lovely
things,
formula.
life changes.
What was the seed when you decided to shift? You have answered it very well, beautifully. You explained that somebody had to come out and give this knowledge also. This becomes a larger than life purpose and
Correct.
more than self. What was that one seed to that young Prabhu Ji in IIT Bombay 1993 that you said, no, this is, and how did the family reacted? Because in India, we are still, there are so many youngsters who would still, even after 3 idiots, want to do what they want to. But there is parental, influence constantly as you started. How difficult or easy it was?
Basically, because of certain misconceptions, people have some resistance to this kind of acceptance.
Yeah.
But my experience after 32 years is many of the monks' parents are kind of quite satisfied, because when they want help and support, they are able to take out time much easily compared to their children who are doing corporate jobs in different parts of the world. Number two, I have monk friends who have 2-3 other brothers, right? But the mother wants to come and stay with the monk son because of the so many other daughter-in-law issues and this and that and other things. So overall, as far as family is concerned, one of the biggest fears they have is of social ostracism.
Correct.
Because of this. Otherwise, profession-wise, this is a teaching profession.
Correct.
If someone passes out from IIT and becomes a professor, rather than joining one of the big 4 consulting firms, it may be paying less, but still it's a noble profession, teaching. So someone teaches technology, someone teaches economics, someone teaches Bhagavad Gita. Majority will be practicing and applying the Gita in their life like Arjuna, but they are teaching Bhagavad Gita.
What attracted you to Krishna and Krishna consciousness?
So I was searching for solutions and answers to death. And then
At that time?
And so for some reason, maybe for past lives, unanswered questions, then I came across the Gita and I got the clarity about what death is. what life is and what is life beyond. So I thought that, okay, there are only professions which help you do financial planning, assets planning, property planning, education planning. But I realized after studying the Gita, there is one more domain of planning, which is post-death journey planning. So it's a very big domain. And I thought we should have consulting in that also.
Untouched domain.
Yes. So most people think it is ridiculous, but it's not.
I want to touch base on understanding from you prarabdha. So when you say that, how does one understand the presence of past life in their life? Like, what could be the instances for us to understand that?
See, Poonamji, one of the very important approaches to philosophy is that you have to go through it in a systematic manner to understand what is where.
Right.
So I do multiple podcasts, I do so many conversations, and people who are spiritual seekers, they're all confused about where to begin. And I'm trying to put together a framework by which people can understand it systematically. Just like simple subjects like language or mathematics and all needs to be learned phase-wise.
Correct.
Step by step. You have to teach first numbers, then teach addition, multiplication, then you go to more complex things. Similarly, the biggest mistake which was made in 1947 was declaring India secular country. As a result of which, what has happened is the particular interpretation of secular should have been that all religion and religious texts could be taught to those who want to study it.
Correct.
And choice could be given. But there should have been a framework of education within the system.
Yeah.
So now we have physics being taught when somebody is in 3rd, 4th standard. Mathematics is taught when you're in kindergarten. And in the 40s and 50s and 60s, people are beginning their spiritual journey.
Yeah.
So which is a very, very anomalous situation. So I'm happy that with this current government, the NEP 2020 has added elements of Indian knowledge system and specifically spiritual aspects, and including many state governments are including Bhagavad Gita in the curriculum.
Correct.
So therefore, we have an introductory course for beginners and we call it the 6-session Gita course. And we have unpacked the Gita into 6 topics.
Oh, lovely.
And therefore, I would say that when we have an exhaustive, detailed conversation, we have to get into each one of these topics in detail.
Yes, we have to.
So let me at least give a snapshot of what these 6 topics of the Gita are.
Sure.
First topic of the Gita is what's the difference between human life and animal life? What's the difference? Ahara, nidra, bhay, maitunam cha samana etat pashubhir naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharme nahi na pashubhir samana. Eating, sleeping, mating and defending. These 4 things even animals can do.
Correct.
But only human beings have the ability for inquiry about the journey beyond death. When I say, we are consultants for the journey beyond death, only humans have that capacity. Animals do not have that capacity. They can only do eating, sleeping, mating and defending, and it's only till death. So therefore, that differentiating factor of humans with animals is inquiry of life beyond death. So that is discussed in detail in that session. Second session is Is scripture
Hmm.
something mythical or superstitious
Story written by
or
somebody.
blind faith,
Yeah.
word of God? What it is? Shastra.
Hmm.
Yah shastra vidimutsrujya vartate kamakarata nasa siddhim avapnoti na sukham na param gatim. When one who gives up the scriptural understanding, he becomes totally lost in their understanding of spirituality.
Hmm.
So we then explain how even with a simple iPhone, you have a product manual which helps you understand the product and operate it.
Correct.
So when the world is created, along with the world, a product manual comes.
Hmm.
When the body is created, along with that, a product manual comes. How to utilize this body so that you get the optimum experience out of it,
Hmm.
which is minimize your pain, maximize your joy. And that's what dharma was all supposed to be.
Hmm.
So this product manual is the Vedic literatures, the Vedas, the scriptures,
Hmm.
which helps you be happy in this life and be happy beyond this life. So that's the whole idea of scripture. And then we discuss in detail. Third is, what is soul?
Hmm.
Atma.
Hmm.
Nayanam chindanti shastrani nayanam dahati pavaka na chayanam kledyam tapo na shoshyati maruta. The soul cannot be dried, the soul cannot be wet, soul cannot be killed, soul cannot cut into pieces. So many descriptions. What the soul is, Atma kya hai?
Hmm.
The fourth topic is Ishwar, who is God. Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartate. I am the source of everyone, source of everything. And descriptions about God and different religions and different traditions, understanding of God.
Correct.
Then the fifth is, how does the soul connect with God? Atma Paramatma ke saath jude kaise?
Hmm.
That's called yoga.
Correct.
So different yoga processes. What is yoga? What are the different yoga processes?
Sure.
When yoga is action oriented, it's called karma yoga. When it's knowledge oriented, it's jnana yoga.
Yoga.
When you connect through intelligence, it's called ashtanga yoga. And then there is bhakti yoga, which is devotion oriented. So all these different forms of yoga are described in that session. And the sixth is the important principle of why do bad things happen to good people.
Oh, good you said this. I want you to spend 5 minutes on the karmic
Understanding-
lens, please.
Understanding karma.
Yeah.
Karmano hepi bodhavyam, bodhavyam cha vikarmana, akarmanascha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gati.
Hmm.
So there is someone who sees the red light, crosses the red light.
Yeah.
So he is called an offender or a criminal. Then there is someone who sees the red light, stops. When it's green light, he walks.
Yeah.
Law-abiding citizen. Then there is third one, when the light is not working, he is standing there ensuring that the traffic follows the proper signal. He is the law enforcer. He is part of the lawmaking team.
Lawmaking team. Yeah.
So like that, there are three types of people in this world. One who break God's laws, one who follow God's laws,
Hmm.
third who facilitate, support and participate and help God in ensuring his laws are here. They are the bureaucrats. So the spiritual people are actually like the bureaucrats of the government of the Supreme. So therefore, it's a very fascinating understanding. People should know that they can't grasp it just by a half an hour, 1 hour podcast.
Hmm. Correct.
So we have to go deep dive into each of this topic, understand it, unpack it, and then, practice it and apply it. And gradually, each of these fascinating aspects will come to light. And then you will really understand, just like when you're hungry, you eat food,
Hmm.
then you become satiated, you
Correct.
become fulfilled. Like that, when you take knowledge in and you apply it, practice it, experience it, then you go through the transformation. That transformation, bhakti, pareshanubhava virakti,
Hmm.
anyatra trisha eka kala prapadyamanasya yatashna sasu tushti pushti kshudapayu. When you eat, three things happen. You become tushti, satisfied. Pushti, nourished. Kshudapayu, your hunger goes away.
Yeah.
Then you know food is making effect.
Correct.
Like that, when you practice the yoga process, especially bhakti, then you get devotion, higher taste, and detachment. automatically comes.
Automatically.
So these are some of the interesting things we'll discuss in a future podcast.
Prabhuji, we have 3 viewer questions that you have to address, please. First is very small question. लोग भगवद गीता को पढ़ते हैं लेकिन भगवद गीता करते नहीं हैं लाइफ में, व्यवहार में. What is the reason?
क्योंकि I told you कि भाई यहाँ पे माहौल ही नहीं है, संग ही नहीं है.
संग नहीं है.
पहले से अगर बोल दिया स्कूल कॉलेज में पढ़ाना नहीं, सिखाना नहीं, तो दादा दादी सिखाते थे तब ठीक है, वो भी नहीं रहे. नेक्स्ट जनरेशन तो पैसे कमाने में लग गई, तो फिर क्या करें?
फ्लेवर नहीं है, कम्युनिटी नहीं.
लोग कहेंगे हाँ वी आर डबल इनकम, वो दोनों कमा रहे हैं, ये है वो है, उसका टैक्स भरो फिर.
यस.
फिर आपने अपने बच्चों को फेसबुक के हवाले कर दिया, व्हाट्सएप के हवाले कर दिया. फिर 44% चिल्ड्रन इन फ्यूचर विल बी लाइक इन अमेरिका विल बी बोर्न आउटसाइड ऑफ मैरिज. Nothing comes free.
Absolutely.
हर चीज का टैक्स भरना
Consequences
पड़ेगा.
and tax. Question number 2. And this is coming from the corporate lens only, that people who do good work, take care of their teams, swadharma, सबको साथ में लेकर, social element, purpose को लेकर ऊपर जाते हैं. But the moment they are on top, as you were telling me, the CEO who was in the hospital because so much of insecurity. So how to become, you were selfless, you were good, that's why you went up. But the moment you are on the top chair, then insecurities. How to deal with it?
देखिए, it cannot be, piecewise fixed. Nowadays, what is famous is systems thinking.
Yeah.
So we need a systems thinking approach. I am here to help people manage their 9 p.m. to 9 a.m.
Yeah.
which is sleep on time, get up on time, contemplate, apply, read scripture, practice it, eat the right kind of food, then begin your 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Kurukshetra.
Kurukshetra, yeah.
So if you enter directly into Kurukshetra without hearing Gita, then you'll be slaughtered. That's what is happening.
Wonderfully answered. Last question, very important. This is coming from my same name, Poonam Kshatriya. She says, somehow while working or doing mundane activities, we often forget life's purpose, and most of the time when we realize that we should go and search for it, it gets late. How can one stay connected and find for their purpose when we are indulged in our mundane life?
There's nothing called mundane or not mundane, because Arjuna was engaged in a profession which most of you are not, which is killing, protecting, Kshatriya. So Arjuna had a more, I would say, violent profession.
Correct.
To engage and indulge in on a regular basis than most people. So the whole idea of spirituality is not about transforming your profession. It is about transforming your consciousness. Arjuna was a warrior, Duryodhana was a warrior. But how many people keep their children's name Duryodhana?
Correct.
What was the differentiating factor? That Arjuna was fighting for the right purpose, the intention. So spirituality is all about purifying one's intention and purifying it beyond intention of fear, intention of desire, and come to at least the intention of duty, and if possible accelerate it to the intention of love, which is selfless service. Scarcity, impediment, discomfort, unhappiness, every relationship has these 4 things. But still the relationship continues selflessly. That is called love. So how can we enable intention of selfless service? That's what the Gita is teaching. Profession and your exact location is of not much consequence.
How beautifully explained.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
This is just the beginning, I believe. We need to sit and we need to decode a lot of... this is a huge world that needs to be decoded. I think this is just a beginner's conversation that we had. So
definitely.
I look forward to that conversation
That's
with
the
you.
very reason why I have dedicated myself. It will be my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.